What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the After Work Anime Club podcast. I am your host, Lulu Soul, and joining me as co host today is.
I'm Yami Brooke, Twitch mom, stream mom, blah blah blahs. I can't words.
So, we have a very unique situation here for the anime podcast today, Yami.
Mm-hmm.
We're both moms,
Yeah, we are.
and we're going to watch the Fruits Basket movie, which is the backstory of Toru's mom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the last time I consumed this story was obviously in manga format. I haven't actually seen the anime movie yet, but I don't think I was a mom or I was a very new mom the last time I read Kyoko's backstory. So this will be an interesting
Mm,
experience for me personally to watch it again from the point of a mom.
yeah, very much so.
And
I'm
now
excited.
you've already seen it, right? You watched it?
I have. Yes.
You have. Does it live up to the manga?
Oh my God, they did such a great job bringing it to screen. When I say that I don't get teary-eyed very often, I was outright crying.
Oh no, I get tear. I don't know. It's like I either cry at the drop of the hat or like I just stop feeling emotions.
Hmm.
I don't know which
I
way it's
get you.
gonna go. Um, but I'm really excited to watch this. For those of you who don't know, the Fruits Basket movie is the backstory for the mother of the main character from the Fruits Basket anime series. Except for the very beginning, which is a recap of the very end of the Fruits Basket anime
Yeah.
series, which is what I've seen. I've seen the like 30-minute
Hmm.
recap, but I haven't seen the rest of it.
I don't know how I feel about the recap. I didn't know it was there going in. And so because I didn't know about it, it automatically annoyed me. It
So
wasn't a bad recap, but yeah, that's it. That's all I'll say about it for now.
for me personally, I watched like I just very recently, like a few days ago, watched what I have seen of the movie, which was the recap. And
Hmm.
I finished the anime, like I was watching that as it was coming out, as it was airing.
Right.
If I had been someone who had not, in fact, read the manga series from beginning to end multiple times throughout my life, the
Hmm.
recap would have been very useful considering the break between having last watched the series and now watching the movie.
Hmm.
Also, it's more Kyo and Toru and Kyo
Yeah,
and
which
Toru.
is why I say it wasn't a bad recap.
It's not
After
what you
I
wanted.
realized for a minute, I was like, is this what I was gonna watch? And then I looked it up as I was watching it, and I was like, okay, it's only for 30 minutes. I can get through 30 minutes. And then I let myself enjoy the rest of the recap.
Nice, nice. I know, let's see, you and I are both big Fruits Basket fans.
Yeah.
Fruits Basket, I read it as the manga was coming out when I was a teenager, and then I read the series again after my mom passed away.
Uh-huh.
And then I watched the reboot as it came out, and the original
Mhm.
anime reboot was the very first anime box set I ever purchased with my own money.
Oh no.
Like I saved up for months to be able to afford the fact. So I'd gone in, I saw the box set in FYE because that was like the only place to get anime at that time,
Mhm.
and I couldn't afford it. Right. So I was
Mhm.
like, okay, but I know it's here. So I saved up and saved up and saved up and went back to FYE and they were sold out. And so I think I ended up buying something else.
Yeah. Oh man.
So no, technically the first anime box set I bought, I guess, was Magical Project S, Magical Girl Pretty Sammy, but that was only season one. It wasn't the full series, so I'm not
Yeah.
counting it.
Mhm.
And then later I went back and they finally had it in stock and I purchased what was at that time the full series of Fruits Basket, the anime.
Nice. Yeah, let's see. My origins of Fruits Basket, I know were middle school. I think this one wasn't my anime manga dealer this time. I think this one was my older brother. And I don't remember. I don't remember where he got it from. I don't remember if he borrowed it from someone. I don't remember. I'm not really sure, but I know that I borrowed it. I know that it was a borrowed item. So like we watched the first season or whatever, the first half or the first DVD, and like we watched that together, and like that was when I was staying at my grandma's house with him, and we were spending more time together, and he wasn't a big anime person, not like I was and what I became, but he liked Fruits Basket. Like, Fruits Basket is just that kind of special thing where it's got the comedy, it's got the romance, it's got the darkness, it's got the magic, it's got the slice of life, it's got so much in it that even like it's hard for somebody, I feel like, to hate Fruits Basket.
And yet, we cannot get Sharko to finish it.
It's okay, it's all right. But
Actually, I'm really
will he
curious.
not finish it because he hates it or because he's just uninterested?
Just uninterested. And
Well, there you go.
I'm really curious because I haven't tried this method. I wonder what would happen if we tried to get him to watch the OG anime.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because that one's more of a comedy than
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
a drama.
Hmm.
Which
They
is
definitely did play into the comedy more, yeah.
and anyway, we obviously need to episode by episode the old anime and the new anime in the future.
We do. That
Well,
is in the future, indeed.
we'll add that to the list.
Yes!
Anyway,
But
um
this is our breakdown of episode 1/chapter 1 of Fruits Basket. We're watching both versions of the anime and reading the first chapter of the manga, and we're going to compare all three.
let's do it. Let's do if anyone can do it, Yami. I think we started doing that actually.
We kind of did.
Because I
And
vaguely remember like the first 2 or 3 episodes were verbatim the same.
mhm. I remember we were comparing the first two episodes. I don't remember if we had our manga volumes out as well.
We need to okay, that's gonna be anyway, but for right now,
Yes. Now.
we're gonna watch this movie. It'll be a recap for Yami. It'll be brand new for me, even though we both know the plots. I can
Mhm.
already think of some of the talking points we are going to have in regards to this.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Go grab a snack, maybe watch the movie yourself, and come back and we'll talk about it. All right, and we are back. We have just watched Fruits Basket, the movie, or Prelude, as it's called on Crunchyroll. For anyone who is interested in it, if you want the subbed version or the dubbed version, they are both on the website. They're just you gotta click some buttons to get to it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Are you feeling stuff, Lulu?
uh,
Because I'm also feeling stuff.
all that hits.
Every step. Being a child of parents, being a parent of child, being a person. It all hits.
Every
Uh,
time I watch or read this series in general, I feel like I am in a different place in my life and I get something
mhm.
different out of it.
Naka Takeuchi certainly manages to hit every perspective.
Oh yes. I don't know. Have you read any of her other series, her short series?
Um, I know I've read like I haven't read any of her other series. I've read like one-offs that she's had at the back of volumes of Fruits Basket and whatnot. Um, I know there was at least one of those.
She's done I remember actively searching them out as many as I could, but they were a lot more
Mhm.
difficult to find and translate and all of that. But
Yeah.
an ongoing theme of her work really seems to revolve around the inner emotional turmoil that people face from very normal situations.
Mhm.
And in Fruits Basket specifically, there is, for all of the characters, there is the underlying theme of dealing with grief.
Hmm.
And I feel like this prelude, this movie, does a fantastic job of wrapping up a lot of the more subtle emotions of the series.
Yeah.
Because first you have like the grief of, like, kind of what you were talking about earlier, the grief of the child as Kyoko is a small child, and the grief and worries of being pregnant.
Oh God, I remember feeling every
Everything
single
she
word
said.
that she said.
Oh
All of
no.
it. I remember it well.
And then
I may not have been going around smashing doors and windows and mirrors and whatnot, but the rest of it, yeah.
so I've never really resonated too much with child Kyoko, with middle schooler Kyoko, just simply because I was very fortunate in that I my mom loved me very, very, very much. And she didn't always get everything right, but what
Hmm.
first attracted me to Fruits Basket is Toru's relationship with her mom is reminiscent of the emotions I feel towards my relationship with my mom.
Mm.
So Child Kyoko I didn't resonate with, but Kyoko with
Okay.
Katsuya, that Kyoko,
Yeah.
including,
Mhm.
so I mean, it's kind of obvious. I think I might even like backtrack a little bit and add it a little bit earlier in this clip, but this is spoilers. We're talking about this movie. If you haven't seen it, stop and go watch it. It's on Crunchyroll.
Yes.
I would advise. I don't know. Do you think it would be? Well, yeah, I would say watch the series first because there are major spoilers for the series in the movie.
I would very, yes, if you're gonna watch this without the context of the series, it's very good, but I don't think it's gonna hit the same.
Kyoko's
Even with the
Kyoko's
recap.
Kyoko's story, I think, would hit the same, but I don't think the recap and the very ending would hit the same because it would just be like, who are these
No,
characters?
I agree. And that's kind of what I expected from it, which is why the recap threw me off so much when I first started it. Because I was expecting a completely standalone thing, Kyoko and Katsuya. Um,
Seeing the
mhm.
additional ending scene, which I don't think was in the manga at all, I'd have to double check. But seeing the
I
initial,
don't think it was either.
there was a different.
I do remember something in the manga. Yeah, it was like it was their grandkids. Like their grandkids were running around or something. And the parents were like, "Oh no, leave Grandpa Kyo and Grandma Toru alone. They're having their lovey-dovey time." Which I also loved, but this was so, oh my god.
But
I love them both.
I think adding the little scene at the end is also the reason that they did the recap because the idea was it
Hmm.
all wraps up into the
Hmm.
next generation, which in this case is Toru and Kyo.
Yeah. I would also like to point out, I understand why they didn't do it for the movie. In the manga, every bit of that is relayed from Kyo's point of view, from being told the story by Kyoko earlier in his life. But like in the manga, as it's being written, it's him talking about her story.
Is it?
Um, it is. I was looking back through the chapter before this. And yeah, it's all from Kyo's point of view, relaying not relaying it to anybody. He's like I guess replaying it in his head, the story that she told about her life and with Katsuya and everything.
I feel like they are telling it from because they have that clip. And earlier in the recap, it's
Mm-hmm.
Kyo asking like, how do you are you okay with the fact that Katsuya is not around anymore? And then it flashes back to that
Yeah.
same scene at the end of the prelude. So I definitely did still
Yeah.
get that impression of this is her telling Kyo her story.
Yeah. So I think they did a really great compromise with it. I'm not really sure how they could have done it better. It was beautiful. It made me cry.
Really? I had no. I mean, I couldn't tell through my tears. So
You were crying, but I was crying.
what was the
Sorry.
thing
Yeah.
that you had to go and check that you were talking about that we were concerned about?
Right. So we've talked before about not only their age difference, but that he was a teacher. I know that we talked about that before, but as he pointed out, he wasn't a teacher, he was a student teacher. So he was never her teacher, and he was never a full teacher to begin with. He actually chose not to even become a teacher. He was like, "Yeah, this ain't the job for me." And she's like, "Yeah, it's not." Um but yeah, so he was a student teacher. He's still quite a bit older than her,
Quite a bit. I
and
believe
he
there's
does.
9 years is what it stated in the
Yeah.
manga. A 9 year difference.
I believe that. So if she's we're I I'm gonna assume 13 or 14.
She's in. Well, how old is middle school
Meet.
in
Well,
Japan?
8th grade. I'm pretty. I'm pretty sure like 8th grade would be 14 usually, depending on your birthday. Because Usukino is 14.
Yeah, this says
Yeah.
12 to 15 years old, but she was in her last year of junior high, so
Mm-hmm.
she would have been 15 going on to 16, so closer to 16 years old. If they
Okay.
have 10 years apart, that still puts him at like 26.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, and this is something that I believe you and I may have talked about in the past, I'm not sure. But one of my pet
Mm-hmm.
peeves is people clamping onto an ick, but not understanding why that ick exists.
Right.
And so people will look at the scenario. I can absolutely see people looking at the scenario and go, oh my God, he groomed her. Except
I could
no,
absolutely see somebody trying to say that. Yeah.
no, he didn't. He actually doesn't
He didn't.
really show any grooming behaviors. At at no point does he do or say things to make her feel like he is the only person in their lives. They actively interact
Mm-hmm.
with their friends and family. They do
Mm-hmm.
have the
All
issue,
of their meetups that we see are all in public. Like he never tries to get her alone other than like the stairwell at school or like the roof of the school, but it's all in public places.
and see
Like, yeah.
when from what I know of it, and I'm not a professional, but
Mhm. Mhm.
grooming is when you have someone who is in a place of power and they take someone who is at a very young and impressionable age and they
Mhm.
interact with them and quote like more or less raise them to be the spouse or underling that they desire, like going out of their way to purposely mold and change their personalities to fit their needs.
Mhm.
And that
And
take
that could include trying to like push them into doing certain things and making them think that it's okay and this and that. m- Blah blah blahs. All he ever does is give her room to do stuff and to try to help improve herself, like helping her study, but it's still her studying. She's doing the work. Um,
but
I love them.
he doesn't
Mhm.
say things like, "Oh, you need to go back to school and pass. I can't be with someone who's
No.
not in school." He's like, "Hey, you said that you wanted to finish school."
Yeah.
And as far as he's concerned, he did. She did. But they're
Yeah. I mean, she didn't get into high school, but at least she's in middle school anymore. I guess is the way that conversation went.
well, what I mean is
Mhm.
eh, their power dynamic never seems to be that much different than a quote normal couple who are closer in age.
Yeah, like again, he was never directly her teacher, so there was never that power dynamic. Um, when she was homeless living with her gang. She wasn't like in his care or anything, so there was no power dynamic with that. Um,
Yeah, I don't think they even moved in
like
together until
li-
he decided he wanted, like, until he proposed.
yeah, exactly. That's why she ended up in the hospital because she was going along with what her gang wanted, and she was trying to do exams for to get into high school. And then she disappeared because she was in the hospital. He's like, "We were," and it scared me. I would like to talk about Kyoko's parents a little bit. Her dad, absolute trash, complete trash. Don't like him. Her mom, I'm not excusing her behavior towards her, but the little bit that we see of her mom and the way she responds around her husband and everything else, I don't think they're in a very healthy relationship. I don't think I get the feeling that mom is not okay in that relationship. That doesn't make it okay how Kyoko is raised and how Kyoko is treated and how and everything else, but like she says something at some point like do you have any idea
Do you know how
of what your
angry
father might do lately? Yeah, yeah,
do
how
you know how
angry he's
your
going to be
father's
at me
gonna be
later
with you
because of
later?
you. Yeah, yeah, that. Okay. It's not okay for her to put the blame on Kyoko. But yeah, I do feel like mom was probably still a victim, which is sad. It doesn't excuse things, but it's sad.
Oh, also going back for a little bit because I know I said a lot of things about how I don't feel like Katsuya was a groomer and all of that stuff. If you are in
Yeah.
junior high and you do have a 26-year-old man approaching you in any way, shape, or form, they are not Katsuya Honda.
Yeah.
Do not trust them. Do not go to a
No.
beach with them. Do not get into a car with them. Do not be
Mm-mm.
alone with them
Nope.
because
This is yeah.
this is a fantasy story and this is a very specific,
hmm
somehow healthy example of a situation that if it were happening in real life would not do not please do
It would be
not
real
trust
sus.
someone if you are underage or if you have a dynamic where they have the ability to have power and control over your life.
Don't go looking for a Katsuya Honda.
And I'm not talking just to
He's
the ladies and the maidies. I'm talking to the men and
yeah.
the non-binary and the everybody. Like it does not matter what your
hmm
gender is. So if
Yeah.
don't if you are a junior high schooler, do not go running off with a 26-year-old woman either. It is the same thing. Just
hmm
I realized like I was talking about us and I was talking entirely in the
Power
scope.
dynamic. Be careful.
Like I was talking in the scope of their specific relationship, and then I was like, "Whoa, hold up! I have some disclaimers. I need to explain."
Yeah.
But this is another thing that Yami, I think you and I have talked about
hmm
in the past, and that is anime characters that do not act their age. I could
Yeah.
very easily believe that Toru's mom was 16 turning 17, 17 turning 18.
hmm
I have a very hard time believing she was 14 to 15 years old.
I don't know.
I mean more in like her speech patterns and her vocal
Mhm.
range. But I don't know how easy it would be for like an adult female voice actor or an adult voice actor in general to replicate the voice of a 15-year-old girl. So that could have something to do with it as well.
Yeah, not everybody has Laura Bailey's range.
Because not everybody is Laura Bailey.
I know.
Though I will say Kyoko's voice actress was
Not
very
everyone can
good.
go from Toru to Lust. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Like her emotional range off the charts. That was beautiful.
Yeah, all in all, I feel like this movie definitely hit all the right buttons.
Mhm.
It
All the right crying buttons.
it was hard to watch
Yeah.
at one point for me personally. Like I said, because I am the target audience for lack of a better word.
Same. I do want to go back to the grief and the multiple perspectives because I think you were starting to say something and then I interrupted you. How she handled all the different characters in that, like all the family members being angry at Kyoko, while she's just welcoming all the hatred because she hates herself. And at the same time, Toru's just in the middle of it all and like just existing. And Grandpa's doing his best to support both of them, but also let Kyoko grieve. And oh my god, so many different things.
I would like to say, Grandpa Pops is just best boy.
MVP Grandpa, I love him. Can he adopt me?
Like he's very much like he
Mhm,
lets the kids live their lives,
mhm.
but at the same time he's like there.
He's also just a little bit of a troll. Because, like, I don't know if you remember in the series how he keeps calling Toru Kyoko.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm Toru, Grandpa. Thank you, Kyoko, dear. And then later on, he's having a conversation with Kyo, and it's like, oh no, I know she's Toru.
I've known the whole time.
I know exactly who I'm talking to. But when she's around, it feels like Kyoko's still here.
Yeah, do you remember his reasoning for that?
I don't know if I do.
He started doing it to give her something to use to ground with. It was a way, one, it was a way of keeping her mom alive,
Yeah.
but B, it allowed her to, like, obviously, grandpa needs me. He can't even tell the difference between me and my mom, but it was something that it wasn't like grandpa can't make it if I'm not here. It was very much a grandpa needs me, but it was within the emotional bounds of something that she could handle.
God, this man is brilliant. Oh man, I love him even more. Also, I do want to give one shout out real quick to Naoko Takeuchi aging her characters up throughout the series.
Oh my
Kyo in the
goodness.
beginning, little twiggy Kyo, and then at the end, he's got
Man hands.
forearms. He's got man hands and forearms and shoulders. Like, yeah, he grew up.
I will add on to that.
Yeah.
Because I remember noticing when I was originally reading the manga that the characters age, that the characters
Yeah.
physically change appearance. And more than just like her art style is changing, she had
Hmm.
them go through growth spurts.
Yes. I love it. Like, yeah, her art style did evolve over time, and you can see that too, but no, they are actually legitimately aging, not just Momiji.
Oh my god, but that glow up.
For real. And they foreshadowed it too, like, oh, but how will he look, when he does transition to a regular boy's uniform when he's older? Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Let him be a cute little boy for now in the girl's uniform.
But that being said, I think that's for
Yay.
the most part, it's what we got.
Yeah, it's great. Watch the entire series and the prelude.
It's definitely worth it.
It's worth every tear.
Anyway, don't forget to drink water. Like
Yeah.
all of you, while we're drinking our water, you drink your water and eat. Have you eaten today?
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to bed at a good time last night?
Did you take your meds?
Have you taken your meds recently? Don't forget to eat your vegetables. Anyway, bye everybody.
Bye.